Well, today I'm going to do a tool pouch video, and I've been asked a couple times, so I figured it's a good idea. So I decided to weigh my tool pouch, and I don't know if you can see that. But my tool pouch comes in at 37 pounds. That's what I carry. I usually rope it up onto a roof. It weighs a little bit, but it's got everything in there that I need, and I'm happy with what I have in there. I've taken out what I didn't need. Always wondered how much it weighed, but let me just put this away. It's a Vito tool pouch. Works really good. The little zipper thing here broke off a long time ago, so I have to do that one with my fingers. But the main thing I use a lot is my drill, and I keep my spare drivers in my pocket, so wherever I'm at, I have the combination of the Phillips and my quarter and my 5/16. And I always, wherever I'm at, I don't have to run out to the truck or to the tool pouch. And of course I have my flashlight, and it's a knuckle head, and it's positioning. I can position it in any direction, up and down. I can lay it down and point it wherever I want it to. I can lay it down straight if I want. It's very versatile. I like this. One of the best ones I ever had. I think it is the best one. Next thing is I went to I think it was Home Depot, to the welding section, and I got a wire brush there, and it's an orange one, just so that I like bright colored tools, because you tend to leave them around, and if it's bright enough, you won't lose it. It's my amp probe. It's a I forgot what one it was. It's an NAV model. I don't see the number on it here, but it's a good amp probe. It'll even measure watts on it. I think it's like a 52 NAV, something like that. Good amp probe. I've got my jumper clip when I have to tie in for a drill or a vacuum pump, and there's nothing around. I have my brush. It's time for another one. I guess I tend to procrastinate. Get some miles out of it. I've got a little magnetic clip. Down at the bottom I have some Nylog that I use. I only use Nylog for pulling vacuums. What I usually use is my leak lock for fittings. That's my favorite, leak lock. Got a small ruler. You can measure duct with it, or if you're cutting copper pipe, whatever. I've got a recently found striker. Works really good. I keep my socket, 3/8 socket, and I have my extension, and in this drawer here I keep all my sockets here, additional sockets, and I also have a drill bit extension, so I can put it on a drill bit and speed up the process. I also have a 10 millimeter wrench and a 3/8 wrench, but that's the only drawback to this Vito is that it's doesn't have enough pockets on it. It'd be nice if there was some more additional pockets, you know, so you can keep things like you know, BX connectors in one pocket. Right now I have a bunch of stuff on the bottom that I have to clean up. But here's my hacksaw, a little hacksaw. You need that once in a while. Cut a line. This is a good little item. I picked it up at the supply house, and what it does is it has a double mirror in here so that you can, if you have to read a model number and it's on a like expansion valve, I can instead of having to read it backwards, I don't know if you can see that, instead of having to read the numbers backwards, it straightens it out so it's, you don't have to try to decipher what it's saying backwards, you know, get your letters all backwards. My screwdrivers, I like Vaco, my Phillips, my big flathead. I have a long flathead and a short flathead. I like both of them. My 5/16 and my 1/4 inch nut drivers. I generally like them with the magnets in them. I've got an awl. I've got a fin comb. Oh, look at that, more than I like. I've got my oil. I lost a little red rubber thing and I'm kind of distressed about that. But, here's my soap. And I have my 2 Schrader valve tools that are very good. I use them a lot for vacuums. I carry some sleeve material. Bought at electrical supply house, and it's if I want to dress up wires. I don't. Sometimes you put in a fan motor in or a control in, and I don't want the wires hanging on around the unit. Like you see a lot of air conditioning units are like that. The wires just hanging. The refrigeration units are doing that now too. So I'm not. I'm used to having everything in cables, but this dresses it up quite a bit. And primarily, I gotta clean the bottom of this out. But I have 2 more nut drivers. This is a 3/8, and that comes in pretty handy. And this is a, I don't even know what this is, 11/16 or something. Oh, here it is, 11/32. And this is, the only time I use this is on the front of fan motors, evaporator fan motors. There'll be 4 nuts, and this will be to the nuts on the motors, but it's a specific size. It's the green one. Then I have a couple brazing tips that I use a lot. And this one, this is a small brazing tip, and this one I'll use it for brazing or soldering, and the small one I use it for soldering. I don't like the bigger tips for soldering, just too much heat. And a solder, you only need a little bit, and lots of times I'll use this one for most of my solder joints, unless it's a 7/8 pipe or something like that. Then I'll, or an 1/8 pipe, I'll step up to larger ones then. But I keep those right in my tool pouch so I can get at them. And around the side, I keep it's a nice little tool. It's 1/4 inch on this side. It's a ratchet, and 5/16 on that side. And it's, you know, just turn it over. It's reversible. Sometimes you'll have a 5/16 head bolt on an ice machine, and there's not enough room to put my tool over here. There'll be only this much space between the ice machine and the wall, and I won't be able to get this in here. So this comes in really handy for those instances. This is a good little tool. It's a woodworking tool, actually. It's a Stanley wrench, but if I need to cut back electric cord, a rubber cord, to crimp-on connectors on it. And this is very nice for splitting the rubber cable open. It works really good. I like this for that. Over here I've got a couple Phillips drivers. Then on this here I keep my 3M electric tape, Scotch tape, and my Teflon tape. It's a Blue Monster, I found that's called. And I keep that there. Back as I go along. Oh, and I use this dish a lot. I usually just, it's a nice magnet on it, and I just throw it in there and it sticks. I've got a couple of them, a couple different shape ones. And this is my my magnet for my gauges. I'll stick that right on. Stick that right on something that's very strong, and it holds it up pretty well. I use that a lot. And I carry two, actually 3 crescent wrenches in my truck, my pouch, my small. It's called 6-inch. This one's an 8-inch, and this one is a 10-inch. And if I need, and I've got my other larger ones, the 12s, and another 8, another 10. I mean, but usually this is enough to crack an expansion valve open or something like that, or valve on a compressor. Small one I use a lot because it's very versatile. And these are Klein. What they did was pretty nice on this. Is they put inch graduations on it here. So if you're not sure of the size of a copper pipe, you can always measure it and read how big the copper pipe is on it. And the same with this smaller one. And what's good about the Klein is they open up really wide, and that's pretty important. You get times when you need that little extra to get onto a flare nut, and it's kind of depressing. Open up a crescent wrench and it only goes so big, and the nut is just a fraction of an inch more. So this goes that extra distance, and that's what's really good about the Klein. It's my leak detector. It's an infrared field piece. Good one. It's my main one that I use the most for standard leaks. I save the H10. I have that up on the shelf out of the way. I save that because it's got a heater in it, and I don't use it every single time I go on a job. I try to use it sparingly so I don't have to change the heater too often. But this is it's an infrared leak detector, and it works really good. It works very good. I've no complaints. I've had it for over a year or so. Here's the needle nose I just picked up. I had a pair and I lost it, and I can't believe I lost it. I looked everywhere for it. It was on a roof. But these are pretty good. They got a spring in it, and they've got the wire strippers in here. The wire strippers, I don't know, they're not the best ones. I like, for wire stripping, I like this Klein better. It does a little quicker, nicer job, and it's got a cutter on it, and it's got a little set of teeth here where you can pull. This is my crimping tool. My best one I've had. It's got a little tooth on it. You can see that tooth, but it crimps the crimp on down really nice. This I got at Napa Auto, and it's small and sharp. It's not big and heavy and clunky, and it's just perfect for snipping wire ties if you're tracing wires out, especially like carrier units. They'll get the wires really in there, and it'll be in a tight spot, and you have to get in there to clip the wire ties to trace a wire. These are my my open-end wrenches, and I buy the wrenches with the little ratchets on the end of them. That's a pretty good innovation. And I carry the 3/8, 7/16, half, and 9/16, and that's pretty much all I really need as far as the open ends go. got a baby channel lock, and I use this a lot, especially for the caps and tightening up, just snugging. I don't crank them down. I'll snug some of the caps. I've got two adjustable two refrigeration wrenches, they're called, ratchets. And I like to have two of them because sometimes you can't find one, it's misplaced, or sometimes you're working a couple different, an expansion valve, and I'll leave one up on the compressor and I'll be adjusting the expansion valve, I'll leave it downstairs. Or sometimes I'll leave one just leave them on the valves, the suction line and the discharge line. This is pretty important. I keep my crimp-on connections in here. If you can see them. But these are the straight ones. They're very good. I got to reload this tray up. These are the little spades. I keep my yellow wire nuts here, the red ones here. I got some orange ones. I have to load all this up again. I've got my larger for number 10 wire. I use this for my number 12 wire and 14 wire. And these are 90-degree angle crimp-ons. I use those. These are combinations. Sometimes you only have one spade opening on a contactor, and this will give you, you can put two wires on it. But that's pretty much that. My crimp-ons. Okay, why don't we close? And this case has a plane out. It's a good case. Hasn't broken yet, so it's a good case. Got my Allen wrenches, and these are American. They go from very small, which used to clean out something maybe, to the larger one, the 5/16, and that works pretty good. It's another channel lock, my larger one, when I'm really some electrical pliers when I need to twist something, I have to grab onto it. And it's a good size pair. They got some weight to them though. These are my to get Allens off fan motors and fan pulleys, belts and stuff. And I like the ones with the handle on them. They're pretty good. And I have, this is a tube for, you put wires in there, and it's a heat shrink tube, and I just use that for my tool pouch for the wires. And I've got one of these feel piece thermometers. I hardly use it actually. And I've had this Napa Auto screwdriver for a very long time, since about 1991, I think. I've had that a long time. I had to buy it for getting a door off of place one time. Here's my mirror, which was folded up in there, and I thought I had lost it. I just found it just now. I wanted to buy another one, but this problem with the mirrors is they're great for looking behind stuff, but they always crack. If you can see the crack in that, it's a pretty good crack. But that's normal. That's just normal. And I always keep a spare. When I'm brazing something, I have a brazing rod left over. I'll stick it in my tool pouch. I've got some small wire ties. I usually carry the bigger black ones. I've got this, it's a brush for my driver, and I use this for, instead of sandpaper. I don't use much sandpaper anymore. I used to use a lot of sandpaper for cleaning stuff off, and now I just use this brush. Works well. I usually keep this brush in my box for my soldering equipment, but I guess that's about it. Oh, and In this drawer here, I keep my caps, brass caps in here. I have to load it up again, it's getting low. But for a lot of years, I wouldn't use these thumb tight caps just because of rubber in it. I just didn't like them. They'd fall out and the gas would leak out. And I just figured some guys like to use these because they could put them on loose and the gas would leak out, and 5 months they'd have to come back and charge the system up again. I just didn't like that. I've always bought these solid brass ones, and I always put them on. And what I liked about them is putting a 9/16 wrench on it and cranking it down tight, so no possibility of a leak, or very, very small possibility. But the supply houses don't carry them anymore. They carry these, so I've been using these lately. My son was actually shocked that I was actually using these, but I told him that's all I could get now. But that's my tool pouch. This side over here is where I keep my drill bits in. Keep all my drill bits, and I've got. I need to put in a electrical connector. If I have to put a BX connector in a box, I'll drill a hole, and it's the right size for it, and then I can put my electric line right into the electrical box. But I just have an assortment of these drill bits in here, these type of drill bits. And I like these pouches, these small pockets a lot. I wish there was, like I said, like 2 on each side, or more. It'd be nice having a place to store everything. But that's my tool pouch, guys. The only other thing I forgot was I keep this is a 1/4 inch driver, and I'll use that for some of the fan blades. Have a little 1/4 inch, instead of an Allen wrench, they'll have a little 1/4 inch sticking out, and sometimes it's hard to reach it. You can get a refrigeration wrench on it if you can get in there, but sometimes you can't. So I'll put this 1/4 inch onto the 1/4 inch Allen head sticking up, and then I'll put a small crescent wrench on the square here and be able to turn it. You do that, and I have a long drill bit. And this I use, I just took a 1/4 inch Schrader valve and put a little 1/4 inch tubing in it. And I use this for like Supco, if I'm going to use Supco, which I use a lot. I like this a lot. And it's like, I think Calgon's system is something dry, new dry, something like that. It cleans the system out, and it also makes everything slippery. And it costs a lot less than new dry. This is I don't know, $8, something like that, $9. And I think new dry is up around $39, $40, something like that. But sometimes I'll pull a vacuum, or pull a system into a vacuum, and I'll have this right in the bottom here, and then I'll open up the gauge. And you can just watch the liquid go right down, and then you shut the gauge off, and you've got a portion of the bottle into the system. So that's what I use this little 1/4 inch tube for. And then I have some more drivers in here, extra ones, the shorter ones that you never know if I'm going to need them or not. But that's it, guys. Later.